From the get-go, everyone was super sensitive
that's
to it,
really
and
great.
it wasn't like this is what Montgomery's doing. It was like, let's talk about it. If you don't feel comfortable doing something like this, let's hash it out and talk about it.
Hey guys, Sinead here, hanging out at Clevver HQ with a very special guest. We have, from 13 Reasons Why, Timothy Granaderos. He's here. We're so excited that you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
I know the fans have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions. But before we get into it, we want to let you guys know that we're going to go full spoilers. So if you haven't caught up yet, this is your official spoiler warning.
Cover your ears.
Yes. So maybe we should just jump right to it and just address it right away. Obviously, the finale is it's horrific. It's graphic. It's one of those things that shakes you inside when you're watching it. But it's also so important to focus a little bit more about what's happening in high schools and what teenagers are dealing with on a daily basis that doesn't get talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I think I assume you're talking about one specific scene that I'm
the
part
bathroom
of.
scene.
Yeah, bathroom scene.
Yeah.
Scenarios like that happen more often than we realize. Maybe not to that degree because it was pretty extreme, but assault and sexual assault and harassment, especially like amongst guys, it's a guy-on-guy assault. They happen far more often than we talk about.
Right.
And I find that sometimes it might not be easy for a guy to come out because they feel this sense of pride or like shame that goes with pride in being who they are, but shame in something like that. So they don't get the platform to talk about it. So I think that's what that scene kind of addressed for us. Yeah.
Such a great thing that's come out of the show, just in general too, since the show first premiered. It's really allowed for more conversation. If anything, you know, just people feel a little bit more okay talking about things because it is being shown and like they really look up to you guys, not only as the characters, but as people and as actors. So for you, how has that kind of changed? Like outside of the show, you know, how have you tried to get involved?
Like you said, it's just like a big part for us was just getting the conversation started because these are things that aren't easy to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool to see on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, people reaching out and saying, this is how the show helped me, this is how your character, even though I'm kind of a villain, helped me realize things about myself or things about the people around me that need to be talked about.
Yeah.
So I think the coolest thing is we have this platform as actors, we go in and we do this scene, we take on this character, and even though it might have been difficult to do that from my perspective and for Devin's and the writers and everyone involved, but at the end of the day, people are reaching out and it is hitting home and they are talking about it and they are maybe discussing it with their friends or reach out on social media, which is a really cool benefit to social media. So,
yeah, absolutely. But you're right. I can imagine it's extremely difficult to do a scene like that. So, I mean, just in general, just playing Monty, like that's just got to be a hard thing. I've been hanging out with you so far. You guys are super nice. It's the same thing I hung out with Justin too. I'm like, man, you're just like really nice. He's like, well, I mean, I'm not Bryce. And I'm like, I know, but it is so hard for me to sometimes meet you guys and just be like, this must take a lot out of you to go on set and kind of channel this. I don't know how else to say it. Like you're pretty evil on the show.
Very evil.
Yeah.
I think both Justin and my character are both, kind of the villains of the show. He was more the villain, and I kind of took on that role towards the end of season 2. But it is exhausting, but also kind of fun because you get to, not fun to play a bully, but fun to look into a character who's so multi-dimensional.
Yeah, like from an actor's perspective.
Yeah, totally. You might see Monty as this bully who's just, aggressive and angry, but, as an actor, you have to find out, you have to discover why he is that way. So you do research, you look into, maybe past scenarios in your life or people that act that way, and you find why they do what they do.
Yeah.
And I think I found is that Monty, everything he does is like a product of pain. He has all this displaced anger that he deals with, emotions, and he doesn't necessarily know what to do, and he takes it out on people like Tyler or other characters or scenarios.
Yeah, and we do kind of see a little glimmer of some of his pain there towards the end when the guys first confront him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of forced to speak about some stuff that's happening at home. He doesn't even realize that what's about to happen because he's just talking to one of his friends. So where do you think Monty will be? Do you think we're going to explore that? I think we absolutely have to.
Yeah. No, I think it's important for us to not judge someone based on their actions immediately. because a lot of people have stuff going on that
Right.
you don't know about. So I think for Monty, in a potential season 3, it would be great for us to explore why he acts the way he is
Yeah.
and what brought him to do the things he does. Because at the end of the day, we're all products of our environment. So if you live in a broken, abusive home, you might not be able to rationally process
Right.
thoughts. So I feel like it would be good for us to, explore that.
Yeah, and especially with 13 Reasons Why, one of the things about the show is that everybody was a little bit guilty. You know, that's kind of what they focused on in the first season, is ultimately like all the different things that people could have done to have made Hannah's life easier. So it's like you were already set up to understand that like it's not like everybody had these moments to kind of realize their own faults. So I would love to just see like some redeeming qualities in some of these characters that we got in season 2.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, they're kids.
They're kids, and I mean, I think in a larger spectrum in life, like, it's just, life isn't easy, and there are many scenarios in the past where I wish I could go back and change the way I reacted
Absolutely.
to something,
Yeah.
and a lot of times my reactions, to a certain scenario may have affected someone in a way that I didn't realize or I intended. So just to be aware of your
Yeah.
interactions with everyone, you know?
Yeah, and it would be nice to kind of explore that side of him as well. All right, so like this is a lot, you know. You go to work every day and you're just dealing with really
Very heavy.
stuff. So what is the first thing you do once the director calls cut? Is it like you find your closest castmate to you and you just go give him a hug, or like what? I would need fresh air constantly.
I'm sure Justin said this to you. We are all such a close family. We spend so many hours together. Everyone gets along really well. We all live or stay in the same area, where we shoot. So oftentimes we'll go meet up and play. Ross is like a hobby man, so he's always got these new board games.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, he's out doing dinners and whatnot. So yeah, the cast hangs out just like a group of friends would, because that's what we are. We're just a group of friends. So we do these heavy, dramatic scenes where you have to go to these places, and then it's not so easy, but easy to come back from it because you have this support group of friends who just look at you like, yeah, I see what you're going. Like, I see what you're going through. It just, and especially like on days like when Devin and I were filming, those are very heavy days. So the entire crew and the entire cast and everyone around, they provide this safe, nurturing environment for us to experiment and go to these places. And our director and Brian Yorkie, the showrunner, like, they just create this atmosphere where we feel safe. So
that's awesome.
even though it does get heavy and it does get, you go to this place, it's easy to come back from.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's so great. Because you have to find moments for laughter.
Yeah.
Who out of the cast is going to be the one to make everybody laugh?
Justin Prentice is, you probably saw, he's
He's
funny
hilarious.
dude.
He is. And when I asked him the question, he was like, I think it's me.
It is him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's great. And who out of the cast is going to be the one that's there to initiate the group hug?
I would probably say Devin Druid. He's just a sweetheart, man.
Aw,
He's so
I love
kind-hearted
it.
and so nice, and he's just very huggable. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. All right, so out of the 13 Reasons Why for a second.
Yeah.
What is your life like? Just like when you're not filming, what are you up to?
Well, as an actor, constantly trying to get better, explore my craft and always auditioning. But outside of that world, I have a big group of friends out here. My family's really close and lives out here. My brother and my sister. And so I like being outside, doing the beach thing. I love camping. Nature's like my happy place. Anytime I get an opportunity to get in a car and drive 5 hours outside LA, I do it, because that's like how I reset and just get some mental clarity. Watch movies, TV, hang out. Yeah.
I love it.
Just chill.
Do you have a dream role? Like what is like when you think about 5-10 years from now?
A dream role. I was just talking about. I want to do like an action movie, like a Tom Cruise action movie.
I was just watching Mission Impossible over the weekend, and I was like, if I ever had another personality, it would definitely be like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible type thing.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the dude's he's a badass.
He's the best.
Yeah.
I love him. Okay, so an action movie, just like straight action.
Just an action movie,
Like
yeah,
a-
where I'm
like a-
kicking people's
I
butts
love
and
it.
driving fast in cars and motorcycles. Using a stunt double when I get scared.
Yeah.
Action movie.
Honestly, like, it can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen.
I'm putting
for
it
sure.
out there.
Yeah.
I'm manifesting
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, before we kind of wrap up, just to talk about moving forward. So as we said, we're not 100% sure if season 3 is happening. But aside from Monty and kind of what happens with him, what other things would you love to explore as the show continues?
Well, I think in season 2, we've kind of resolved Hannah Baker's story a little bit, if you can say resolved. But there are so many other characters I feel like we can explore their storylines and interactions, and we did that a lot in season 2 as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, in season 3, I would like for us to kind of, you know, maybe some of the characters who played roles, but like you didn't get to learn a lot about them, like Monty or someone else.
Right, and there was
Scott Reed.
there was a couple characters introduced as well.
Yeah.
So there's this popular fan theory going around, and you tell me what you think about it. So at the end of season 2, Bryce announces that he's leaving, and that kind of sets up Monty as this new villain, right?
Yeah.
And he probably is more twisted than Bryce is at times. And it's like you have these two people who are like, oh my gosh. So now Bryce is leaving. But also, we find out that Chloe's pregnant.
Yeah.
So there's a fan theory that's going around right now that it's like, because of Chloe's pregnancy, Bryce will be forced to stay. And now he's kind of lost his place really as the only thing he knew, which was to be the bad guy,
Alpha
because
dog, bad guy, yeah.
somebody swooped in and is even more twisted, you know? So it's like, what do you think about that? Like, where could that really take this show and the dynamic?
Well, I think Monty is definitely being set up as one of the main villains. I would just hope that if we did go that direction, I've said this before, as a viewer, justice would be served, but as like an actor, I hope it takes a season's worth of episodes to resolve that.
Right.
But that's an
That's
interesting theory. I mean, it is weird because like in even like in doing the scene, even watching it, like Justin and I spent so much time together because I was like his little crony, right? And then in episode 13, we did have that scene where he was like, dude, it's over. And like it was heartbreaking for me as like an actor and a character, because I'm like, this is the guy I look up to. This is my buddy. As in real life, if you have you break off with a friend, it's not easy. It's tough. It's tough. So
like you said, it is sad, and it's also like, I think it would be sad for the character too, because he kind of there at the end almost. It's not like desperation, but he wants to show Bryce that, like,
for sure, he's
like, I'm here, dude.
Like,
this is you and me.
Right. Whether or not it's right what he's done, and it's not right, but like it's this sense of loyalty and family, right? So it's heartbreaking for him, and I think it'd be fun to explore what he goes through after losing probably the closest thing he has to family.
Right.
And all these things he's done in season 2, he's done for his family, and he's done it from his heart. He thought, this is his thing to do. I protect him, I protect me, I protect the team. So I think it'd be fun to explore what he goes through after a breakup like that, which is, I'm calling it a breakup because it's all a breakup.
Yeah. And then just in terms of that final episode, can you tell me a little bit about like what your initial reaction was, knowing that, I know Justin had explained that you guys get the scripts as you go, so this isn't something that you know from the very beginning. So you get the finale script, you're reading it, you finish it. Do people prep you for that? And they're like, hey, by the way, last couple episodes, or last couple pages gonna be a little rough. Just give me a call afterwards if you need to talk, you know?
Actually, our showrunner, Brian Yorkie, approached me a few episodes out and was like, hey, I have this idea for Montgomery and your character and the storyline, and he told me what it was, and obviously I was shocked, but he was just confirming or asking if it would be something that I would want to take on. So from the get-go, everyone was super sensitive
that's
to it,
really
and
great.
it wasn't like this is what Montgomery's doing. It was like, let's talk about it. If you don't feel comfortable doing something like this, or you don't feel like your character will be let's hash it out and talk about it. So from the get-go, it was always from a place of a creative decision and also very aware of how I felt about doing it. So it didn't. It was obviously a surprise to. When you read it, it's different than when they're like, oh, we have this idea for him.
Right.
And then when you see it, it's
totally different.
Yeah, it's even hard. Even though you're in the scene, it's hard to watch. It's,
and I mean that scene also it upset a lot of people. There are a lot of people out there that are very grateful to have that scene on TV, but there are a lot of people out there that have criticized the show for showing it. And what do you think about that?
I understand that, and I can see why, but at the same time, these are real scenarios. People are like, oh, you're just doing it for entertainment and TV, but we're not. These are things that happen in real life that aren't easy to watch, and they aren't easy to be a part of. And so I think more than anything, it's presenting a scenario that people are just usually like read it and they're like, ugh, and they want to look away. But with the show that you're invested in, you can't, because you care about these characters.
Absolutely.
And I think more than anything, that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think it's so important what you're saying. These are real scenarios, and you guys are doing such an incredible job of exploring things that nobody else is exploring, and it's so important. So we love it. We applaud all of you guys for doing such a great job, and we can't wait. Like we said, fingers and toes crossed.
Fingers and toes crossed.
For a season 3.
Please.
And if you get the word, you have to call us.
I'll text you personally.
Thank you. I
First
really appreciate that.
Not my mom and dad. Straight to you.
See? This is the best. This is the best. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for hanging out.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Click left to find out how the 13 Reasons Why cast reacted to news of a season 3, or click right for all the controversial topics covered in season 2.